Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to another episode of the Broad Points Podcast. Yes, I am your host, the Broad That Points, the Broad with the Points. It's me, Tyler the Lady. Welcome, one and all. I want to start this episode off by saying you can handle anything that the universe presents you with. Yes, life is a roller coaster filled of ups and downs and turns and loops and swoops and pulls, and through it all, you can handle anything that the universe, that God, whatever you want to call it, throws your way. You can do it. And one other thing that I would like to remind you of while we are standing right here in this moment, maybe you're sitting, I don't know your life, maybe you're laying, is that you have survived 100% of your worst days. That means that through all of the challenges and obstacles and whatever else we want to label the things that we have encountered in this life, we have survived 100% of them. You have survived 100% of those worst days. The days that we thought, oh my gosh, we can't get through it. You did it, and you're here, and you're stronger because of it. Right? Kelly Clarkson, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Can I get an amen? Just joshing around, guys. Just joshing around. Having a good time today because I am just so happy to be here. I recognize that to be here is a blessing. It is a gift that I give myself, right? I show up to create this podcast for myself and for everyone listening. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's start off by jumping in to the fundamental phrase for the week. So just in case you're new here, I don't even know what episode number we're on these days, but just in case this is your first one, hi, welcome. We usually do a fundamental phrase every single week. Yes, what the heck is a fundamental phrase, right? All right, so a fundamental phrase is like a mantra. It is a phrase, usually of positive variety, that keeps us focused on who we are and where we want to be going in this life. They're fun little, that northern light, or if you think about maybe you're in the middle of a storm, maybe you're going through a little bit of a crazy week out there, it's a little bit of a fog, right? Over there, we see a lighthouse. That is the fundamental phrase. It's just guiding you to safety, right? It's guiding you to where you want to be. And so let's jump into this fundamental phrase because it just rolls right into the whole week for me. With that, the fundamental phrase for this week is, ask and you shall receive. Yes, ask and you shall receive. Oh my goodness. This phrase is just so powerful. It is just, honestly, like I said, it made itself very known throughout the entire week. And so I am happy to come here and to be able to share it with you. So ask and you shall receive is a fun one. I have been, for I don't even know how long now, thinking that I would like to refresh my skills, my coaching skills. I found a lot of peace and a lot of value in coaching for myself, not even to try to push it onto anybody else because that's not my life. I don't believe that. I believe that every person has their own answers and every person is capable of deciding what tools they would like to incorporate on their journey, right? If you decide that coaching is something that you would like to pursue, you can absolutely ask me and we can talk about it. Maybe we can work something out. That's fantastic. For me, I did it for me. I like to preface that. When I started off, I was I mentioned on the last podcast, I was dealing with a lot mentally. That's just one of many things that I was dealing with mentally, right? And there's I believe it was a psychologist. Her name is Beatrice Bebe, and she said that research is really me search, right? We're trying to find the answers for ourselves when we are doing this research. And so for me to be wanting a refresher and thinking about wanting a refresher, and also simultaneously thinking about some leadership opportunities and roles that I would like to see myself in the future, right? So I'm having all of these thoughts, I'm thinking all of these things, and then I remember, hey girl, you know what you bought and paid for, that leadership program. I'm a certified wellness and a certified performance coach, but I also have a program that I'm going through now that focuses on leadership. And it's so funny because I was asking for this refresher. I was trying to decide do I need to volunteer? Do I just need to start coaching again? What is the answer? And, sometimes you just look on your bookshelf and the answer is right there in front of you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even open this book. What is in this book? And then I saw it was the leadership program. So I believe, we may call it divine timing. I think everything happens exactly when it's supposed to. And, I busted through those other courses wanting to, I'm calling it empire build, right? Saying that I've got all of these things under my belt. And that's really great. And I'm happy that I did that. And I'm happy that I have those. But it's been some years. It's been some years since I really reviewed, the material of the programs. And so to now be presented with the opportunity for that refresher that I was asking for, and specifically towards leadership, which is something that has really been calling my name. I've always felt like a leader. I actually believe that we're all leaders. Truly, every single one of us, no matter your age, no matter your shape, size, background, whatever it is, we are all leaders. We are all leading by example in every single thing that we do. And this is really how lessons, right, get passed on, is because we're leading in every single thing. In every place that we go, we are leading by example. And so this is something, right, that has come up for me a lot lately, because while I'm feeling as though I'm leading my ship, right, I feel like there are some fundamentals that I would really like to get back to. And so by this phrase, right, I'm thinking of all these things, all of a sudden I'm getting all of these things. So, it's absolutely beautiful. There are also, challenges coming up. It's not, just easy to start budgeting time and having people, reaching out to you who maybe you thought those doors were closed. But guess what? You can handle anything the universe throws at you. And you decide how much energy you want to put into any particular thing. So, for example, like I said, I had some past relationship things come up for me over the last, week or so. And then rather than investing my energy into those and going back into something that, maybe doesn't necessarily make me feel great, right? I am deciding to focus my energy on something that I truly want, right? Something that is going to allow me to feel, honestly, pleasure and satisfaction with the fact that I'm able to reconnect with some of these principles. One principle, oh my goodness, one principle that has come up for me already is the idea of motivation, right? What motivates you to achieve your goals, to live the life that you want to live? What is that motivation, right? And for some people, it's an extrinsic motivation. What is an extrinsic motivation? Well, let me tell you, friend, that is an external motivator. So that is something, whether it be tangible, like money, or psychological, like praise, right? It's outside of ourselves. We have no control over it. There's no guarantee of success when our motivation, right, our goals are driven by external factors. Because we cannot guarantee how someone else, the world, right, is going to perceive what we are doing. So now let me share with you another type of motivation. So we talked about extrinsic. The other type, the opposite type, if you will, is intrinsic. So we were extrinsic, now we are intrinsic motivation. And intrinsic motivation is all within us. It really is about what are we feeling within us. And usually it is a satisfaction or a pleasure or even happiness that occurs from what we are taking part in, right? And this is something that it's so easy to get removed from. We live in a world, that is just filled with external things. Think outside of yourself, all of these things. And truly, what we are going after, it exists within us. We don't have to travel the world. We don't have to spend zillions of dollars. It already exists within us. And when we are able to focus on that, when we are able to really, truly focus on that, we're dedicating our energy to ourself. We're able to really identify how we want to feel once something is accomplished, rather than what are we accomplishing? And let me just put these into perspective. So I'm kind of doing like an internal, external thing. When it comes to applying this towards life, right? And, I believe that in everything we're leading, we're also performing, right? We are doing our best performance as a driver when we are driving our cars. We are doing our best job as an athlete when we're running or training or doing anything like that. I do my best, corporate performance when I'm working my corporate job. When I worked for government, I did my best government performance, because life is truly, when we look at it from a broad perspective, all just a performance. And so it is so powerful, right? When we decide that we don't want to just do it for the performance. I'm doing it to just do it, and that's it, right? It's I'm doing it to be better than others. That's actually what we call a performance orientation. So our whole world is just, surrounding the performance. And if it goes well, we win. And if it fails in any way, or we look stupid, right? This is the ego talking, telling us about how stupid we look. Then, we fail, right? It's very black and white with a performance orientation, right? With extrinsic motivation and performance orientation, that's all outside of ourselves. We have no control over what actually happens. And so something that I'm constantly reminded of, and, I act in this way, but I forgot that this is, the title of it is mastery, right? What is the idea of being a master? Well, it's someone who is constantly learning and growing to better themselves. Not to be better than anyone outside of themselves, right? But for themselves, to improve their competency, their skills. It's all for them, right? And that, I forgot about that. And when you don't, stay up to date on your material, it's so easy to forget, and it's so easy to get wrapped up in those things outside of yourself. When I think about doing all of these dance classes and doing these performances, I get a lot of anxiety when I'm thinking about how I have to nail every single move, and other people are going to be watching me, and if I don't do it right, I'm never going to get the opportunity to perform live. That is heavy. You guys, that is heavy. Oh my goodness. I got to put that down. Give me a minute. Whew. That's a lot. When we think about life in those terms, it feels shackling, right? It feels like the whole weight is on our shoulder, and when something goes wrong, it feels detrimental. It feels detrimental. I mean, I was just in a dance class, and luckily I wasn't, killing myself on this performance because we were just running through it, but I kept stepping on my hair. My hair is just so long now, and I kept stepping on it, or kneeling on it rather, because we were turning and rolling over, and then I would go to get up and it would just be underneath of me, and you can't really get up when you're on top of your hair. So I had to figure it out. And rather than beating myself up and telling myself how terrible that was and how I'd never be able to do it or anything like that, it's not necessary to go down that route. Right? The mastery mindset of this all, the mastery orientation, which is what I actually chose to approach this from, was, okay, maybe I don't start with my hair to my left-hand side, because then when I go to the left-hand side in that first move, I'm on my hair. My elbow is on my hair, and that's preventing me from being able to do the next move after that. So maybe the next time that I do it, I'll start with my hair on the right side. Yes, because instead of just tearing myself apart about how horrible something was, I decide to learn from it. Mastery is not about perfection. And I think performance oftentimes really is associated with perfection. And that is really what withdraws people from it. It makes people say, no, I don't want to be a part of that. Like, I can't be perfect. No one can be perfect. No one can be perfect. I'm telling you that right now. You could do whatever you want to do. You can practice however many times. No one is ever going to be perfect. But we can apply mastery. We can approach whatever our craft is, right, as a master, where we are constantly showing up as our best, and then also giving ourselves the space, the grace to make mistakes, right? To find learning opportunities, right? Because I can beat myself up, and I know I can beat myself up because I did it for a lot of years, you guys. I did it for a lot of years, and it really just left me feeling so beat up, right? When you beat yourself up, you feel beat up. And then you're like, your insides hurt, your heart hurts, and you don't have the motivation at all, external or internal, to do anything because you just feel like crap. Versus, wow, we did that. And like, after I kneeled on my hair, guess what? I kept going with the performance. I felt a little bit off, honestly, after that, but I knew that I had learned some things. And so I was able to continue on with the show. The show must go on. And so rather than being, absolutely destroyed by something and needing months or weeks or days or years or however long you need to recover from the devastation, right, that is that performance orientation, the ego mindset, then we are really able to show up for ourselves. We're able to be kind to ourselves, and we're able to grow, right? And when we think about plants and flowers, right, those things need to feel safe and nourished in order to grow. Honey, you are a flower. You are a tree. You are whatever you want to be. You can be that. But you need to feel safe, right? And I say need here because we need to feel safe. That is a necessity for us, because when we do not feel safe, our adrenal glands, you guys, this is science, our adrenal glands are firing, and that is shooting off those stress chemicals, that adrenaline, that cortisol into our body. And while those things are like all fine and dandy in small doses, if we are constantly, right, not feeling safe, we're constantly firing off those chemicals, and our other systems, our digestive systems, all of these things, they're not working to their full capacity. Why? Because we're spending energy on something that truly we don't really want to be spending it on. I don't want to be spending it on not feeling safe. And that is why I have taken all of the steps to allow myself to feel safe. A big one that came up for me is actually going to the gym, right? I was having a really hard time with finding consistency with the gym. I don't know what it was. Truly, my mind state before. Okay, actually, let's talk about it here. We're going to learn something, okay? So my mind state before going to the gym was my car's blocked. So there's one excuse, an external physical excuse. So then I started running to the gym. And now it's just real hot. It is so hot, so early in the morning that running to the gym just didn't make me feel good. I didn't really want to be there because then you're really hot by the time you get there. The gym air conditioning is not like blasting. They don't just keep the gym ice cold for when you arrive, post run. And then I had to walk home. And so I was doing that, but that became just like a little bit too much for me to want to do. And the excuses, right, just started to pile up on all these different things, all of them external, by the way, all of them, every single thing that I've said here, the physical car, the weather, none of these things I can control. Me running, I could control, right? And so I did. I decided, you know what? Even if you don't want to run to the gym, you could still walk to the gym. And you could still do your CARs, controlled articular rotations, at the gym, because that is going through the full range of motion of every single one of my joints in my body. If I'm already walking, 3.5, 4 miles in the morning, why not, split that up with just a short break at the gym in the middle and then walk home. And so that is how I have incorporated it. I've focused now on what I want. I want to feel the space between my joints. I want to feel the strength in my muscles. I want to learn what I am capable of so that I can do more. Because for me, I don't know about you, for me, the things that were coming up for me, especially in dance classes, I'm doing a lot of physical things lately. Dance classes are challenging. They really are, especially when you're doing ones that you have no background or experience in, which for me is pretty much all of them. But at this point, I like to think I have a good amount of range in choreography underneath of my belt, but it's no joke. It is no joke. And I was encountering a lot of injuries before because I was not partnering that dance work with strength training. And, consistent strength training is what I want to say here. Because in doing that, I was really making it so that I wasn't able to dance, right? I was self-sabotaging, a very familiar pattern for me of self-sabotage. And I was like, oh, why am I doing this? Oh, I don't know. Like, really, I don't want to do this. I do want to dance. I do want to perform. So, for me to decide that is what I needed is allowing me to show up better in these classes. And this last week was so funny because one of the classes I'm taking is a chair class. I have never taken a chair class, y'all. I have never taken a chair class, never done any of that sort of stuff. And so actually, that's a lie. I have taken a chair class, but I have not done any acro on the chairs, which is what we are doing in this class. And just being flipped up, upside down is not something other than headstands and shoulder stands that I'm very familiar with. And so this idea of going on my shoulder on a chair and having something else support me, it's a lot. It's a lot for your girl. And your girl recognized that because in the last class on, I think it was Tuesday of last week, I was struggling with the chair. I was just not fully comprehending, what muscles were needing to be engaged. I was not understanding where the chair was needing to be on my body. And I recognized that. I did the best that I could in the class. I ended up with, honestly, so many bruises. It was insane. I've just been an arnica queen over here, just rubbing the arnica on all of my bruises. And I don't know if you guys have ever used arnica on your bruises, but it works for me. Like within just a few days, I noticed significant improvement. And the bruises that I got from that Tuesday class were pretty bad. They were pretty like instantaneous. Like I could feel the bruise instantaneously, but then also like physically I could see the bruise, the coloration, the discoloration was starting to happen. And so arnica is such a lifesaver. I've been using that like no one's business. Then at the end of the class, she says, "Hey, does anybody want to rent a chair?" And I absolutely wanted to rent a chair because I wanted to master that part of the program. I want to apply mastery. I want to continue to learn and learn my body. And I felt as though I did not have enough time in that class. I think that acro and doing things of such capacity could probably use some more time, at least for myself, because it's my first time. So that is why I took the initiative. I chose my learning, right? My confidence, my learning, my mastery. Rented the chair. I came home and I figured out what I needed to do. I was honestly, I was so scared, and I was thinking that the chair was not going to support me, and I was putting the chair too high up on my pubic bone. And it really needed to actually be down further on my legs. But I think because I'm a little bit afraid of heights, maybe, like holding myself over a chair, just like it felt high. It felt really high. And that started to kick in. So then I was like, no, I can't be this high and this unbalanced. But I found out you just got to plank. You got to engage your core. You got to engage your muscles. And by going to the gym, I've allowed myself the opportunity to recognize those muscles and engage those muscles, right? I'm so grateful that I'm able to do that. I'm so grateful that I was able to rent a chair and to have that chair in my tiny little office, which is already, packed to the brim with artistic endeavors. Now I have this chair that I've wrapped fur around to not further bruise myself. And I'm doing it. I'm able to do a shoulder stand. I'm able to go. I'm able to flip myself upside down. I'm able to hold myself just one hand, by the way, on the chair. Super cool. And now I'm ready for Tuesday. Tuesday is our final performance. Tuesday of this next week is our video shoot, right? And I knew that I wanted to be able to show up to that with as much learning and knowledge as I could. I'm still going to show up to that and be able to learn more from every single move and take that we do. I absolutely am. But I'm not killing myself to try to get it perfect. I'm just trying to understand my body and how it interacts with this world and this chair. So that was really fun. I also am doing a floor work class with Lesupova that is, I love it. I love it so much. None of the other classes are teaching you about your muscles and what needs to be engaged and how to distribute your body weight on such a entry level of communication. Like, she really breaks it down. Like, if you're average Joe Schmo off the street, it may look intimidating, but she is able to communicate so well and just really takes the time to be with you and understand your body and where you're at, so that way she can help you grow. And my growth from her classes feels just like leaps and bounds above some of the other classes, which really only focus on the choreography. Choreography is really fun. It is really cool. I also think it is very important to take care of your body and to know how to take care of your body. And if you're going to be dancing, to know which muscles, it's all of them, by the way, you're going to be engaging so that you can work on strength training them. Right? Because I thought, for example, that the splits were just like, people are very flexible. You just drop down into the splits. It's not a big deal. Wrong. Wrong. I'm going through now, and from taking classes with a contortionist and some other things, I'm recognizing, I'm understanding that it is our strength. There are all of these tiny little muscles in our hips and in our back that allow us to be able to do the splits. And so it is not that you're not flexible enough, it's that you're not strong enough, right? We need to be able to support ourselves in our most flexible places, because when we are not able to do that, when we're not able to support ourselves and really hold ourselves in those times of flexibility, that is where the injuries occur, right? Head whips, right? When you're whipping your head around, you can get whiplash if you are not engaging your neck muscles. I did not know that. I did not know that. And I was just whipping my head all around like, woo, we got to get this mop all the way around the world. Let's go, girl. Not realizing that, hey, that's whiplash. You are giving yourself whiplash. You have to engage those muscles in your neck. At the beginning of dance class, hell, even when I was an athlete, at the beginning of practice and we were doing those neck rolls, like to roll out your neck and just try and get it, I was just relaxing it. I was just letting it fall to the side and just rolling it all around in the joint. And I don't know if you guys remember those dumb, like, skip hops. You remember those? They're like a little thing, a little disaster of a bruiser thing, like a rock on the end of a string that you skipped over and you hopped. Is that like shuffling? Is that like shuffling? Whoa. Anyways, sorry, side tangent. But, take care of yourself and really, truly allow yourself to have the strength to be flexible, right? I'm doing a lot of active stretching, which means I'm engaging muscles when I'm stretching. So that way I prevent injury. When we're engaging our muscles, that is what's preventing us from those tears and those, oh my gosh, those sprains and all those other things, is our muscles. I have a family member who is so jacked. He's so jacked. It's so insane. He broke his back, and the back surgery that people have to go through for such back injuries can actually leave people paralyzed. That is pretty crazy. That's like a devastating injury. But because he was so jacked, because he was so strong, all of his muscles around his spine actually held it in place so that he did not have to get surgery. That is the level of strength that we are capable of having, every single one of us. He is a human being. You are a human being. I am a human being. We can allow ourselves to be strong enough to hold ourselves in those moments when we feel broken, right? Sometimes we're actually feeling broken. We can hold ourselves. And by showing up, right, it's not even just the physical muscle gain or, the physical endurance gain, right? Those, again, are external things outside of ourselves. It's the growth, right? It's the confidence that comes. It's the strength from within, right? The confidence within ourselves, the peace. I feel more at peace the more I give to my body. And so it's a beautiful journey. I'm enjoying gym life, and now I'm not so stressed out about like, oh, I have to have a person going with me, or I need this, or I need that. I just go and I say, bare minimum, I'm going to do my cars, and then I'm going to see what else is available, and I'm going to do that. Whatever's not sore, I'm going to do that. But I don't need to be all rigid. I don't need to be the legs, arms, back. I just split it up however I feel, and whatever I'm not feeling sore in, that's what I do that day. And then the next day I do the next one. So it's very intuitive. It's, again, not rigid. It's whatever I can do. And one other thing that I would like to give on this podcast is a plan. Yes, it is what I like to call the Guaranteed Success Plan, or better known as the ABC Plan, right? So this guarantees you success every single time. What is it? It's a 3-step plan. So first, you decide your ideal outcome. Yes, in a perfect world where all external and internal things are going exactly your way, what is the outcome? What is it? What's the outcome, right? That's your A. Then, maybe something doesn't work out. Some things start to go off the tracks a little bit, and we got to go to our backup plan. We got to go to plan B, right? Maybe, we're giving a performance and we want our performance to go perfect, right? In number 1, but in number 2, we realize that maybe we just want to focus on speaking clearly and, really making sure to explain, the concept so that there's, understanding throughout the audience. Maybe that's what we're trying to focus on, right? Maybe that's backup plan. Well, maybe that doesn't work either, and the audience is not getting it, and you're starting to stutter because you're freaking out a little bit on the inside. Well, guess what? You don't have to do that, because you have a plan C. Yes, safety net plan, plan C. You guys, we can have an A. We can have a B. We can also have a C, and the C of it all, the safety net of it all, is forget all of the external factors. Forget every single external factor that is going on in your brain and focus internally, right? The safety net of our ABC plan is, what do you want to gain or feel within yourself? Again, we're removing those external and going internal, because when we focus internally, there is nothing the world can take away from us. If we're focused on, feeling our confidence or learning from this experience or reaching a level of satisfaction for the accomplishment of speaking to the people that we spoke to, that all exists within us. No one can take that away from us. And so that is why I call it the Guaranteed Success Plan, an ABC plan. You can always do an ABC plan for anything in life. It is one of my favorite things to do. I'm happy to be reminded of it. I'm so happy to be going back through this leadership program and to be able to share it here with you. I think there's a lot of value in sharing the things that we're learning and really, expressing gratitude for them, right? I'm grateful for all of the lessons and all of the learnings that I'm able to participate in. And I'm so happy to be able to share them here with you. And the last thing I'm going to say on here is we got to be specific, right? Because you will receive what you ask for. I believe it. I've seen it. It just happens. And one thing I've noticed is when I'm not specific enough, I get what I want sometimes in ways that aren't really the way that I wanted. And that doesn't always make me feel so great. And so over the years, I have learned to be specific, to really narrow it down, to really think about what you want, because you want a deeper picture. I promise you do. Yeah, there's a lot of just blanket statements that I've said of, oh, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. And then it comes to you in just like these weird convoluted ways, to whereas when you really focus on what does it feel like? What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it taste like? And what does it sound like? When we really start to engage our senses, we are able to paint a much more vivid picture of what we are asking for. And so, maybe we're asking to learn some lessons. How would you like to learn those lessons, right? For me, I was like, for example, I was really wanting to refresh on my knowledge. I was thinking I was going to have to dedicate time with other people's schedules and do all these things outside of myself. And then I realized, right, I control what I'm doing. I control my energy. I control what I want it to look like. And by being specific with my learnings, really wanting to get back into it, I was able to find this. I was able to really identify with where I am now and the material now and how I want to share it. So I am so happy to be here. I am so happy to continue sharing with you on these podcasts and sharing more guests with you as well. We are always learning. There are some guests that you guys have asked for. We are working on getting them on the schedule. I promise. I am working on getting them on the schedule. It's so fun to talk to other people. It's so fun to hear how they're navigating their lives, right? How are they leading their ships, right? I love to share it. I love to hear from you as well. If you want to follow me, if you want to reach out to me, you absolutely can on social media is one way. At Broadpoints or at Tyler the Lady. I also have a website, broadpoints.com, which routes to tylerthelady.com. You can find episodes there. You can find pictures of my art. I'm thinking one day I'm probably going to have a store on there, but I'm just not sure yet. I really like working in people. In person with people. Oh, you know what I meant. And if you would like to email me, you can, broadpoints@gmail.com. Now, let's go ahead and wrap this week's episode up with that fundamental phrase for the week. It is, ask and you shall receive.